That was probably the greatest wildcard weekend of my lifetime. Besides the absolute shitter that was the Chargers versus Patriots, every wildcard game was great. We had several NFL quarterbacks that took the next step and became heroes, and we had several quarterbacks that took a step back and decided to ash cash their team shit. Shout out Jalen Hurts. Brock Purdy ain't choked though. On a real note, most quarterbacks choke in the playoffs. That's why there's only one Super Bowl winner. It's actually very rare where a quarterback plays great and he still loses a game. It's very rare that a quarterback can make all the plays needed to win and they still lose. Shout out Josh Allen about like 4 times. But with that being said, if you're a fan of any of the teams in the playoffs, there's a high likelihood that your quarterback's going to choke at some point and you're going to lose the game because of it, because the quarterback position is the most important position on the field. So let's get into the video. These are the reasons why your team's quarterback will choke. Hold up. If you don't want 24 women to come out with sexual assault allegations against you like Deshaun Watson, like, comment, subscribe. Now let's officially get into this video. First off, we're going to start off with the AFC, and we're going to start with the highest seed, the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix. Bo Nix is a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's not an elite quarterback. He's a good quarterback and a good enough quarterback that stabilized the Denver Broncos for them to go to back-to-back playoff appearances. But with that being said, this dude's as fraudulent as dick enlargement pills on Pornhub, throwing 25 touchdowns to 11 interceptions on only an 87 passer rating this year. He doesn't necessarily play playoff teams too well because against the Chargers, he only had a 60% completion percentage, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and only 141 passing yards. Then against Jacksonville, he also didn't play well, another playoff team where he threw for 350 yards, which was pretty decent, but he had a sub 60% completion percentage, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a loss. Against Philadelphia, he had another 61% completion percentage game, 242 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, and a win against the Philadelphia Eagles. Against the Chargers at the beginning of the year, he had another sub 60% completion percentage. It was actually 56% this game for 150 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, in a 20-23 loss against the Chargers. Now, I will say, he did have a good game against a playoff team in the Green Bay Packers, where he had a 67% completion percentage, 304 yards, and 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. As we've seen through the season and last year, he really plays to the level of the team he's playing against. Against a horrible team, he's going to have a good game. Usually against playoff teams, he doesn't play the best, or he doesn't play elite football, he doesn't play mistake-free football. But with this defense carrying him, he has a lot of leeway. He can make a few mistakes and possibly still win the game, but I could see him throwing a stupid interception. I could see him being very inefficient in the playoffs, especially next round, because they play the Buffalo Bills, where Josh Allen, I believe, is going to light up that defense, whether you like it or not, because he is that kind of playoff performer, even though he won't win a Super Bowl still. We'll get to that later. Inefficiency in throwing interceptions is going to lead to the Denver Broncos losing, and that's how Bo Nix will choke. Next up, we got the New England Patriots, which are the number 2 seed. Drake Maye has had a fabulous year, all things considered. Granted, all year he was beating up on literal disabled children. I'm not talking about like a toe missing disabled. I'm talking about you think they might be a tweaker disabled. I'm talking about that homeless man on the street that you don't know if he's on crack or if he has some disabilities. Having disabilities is fine. It's a joke. I'm sorry. Shout out my disabled niggas out there. And with this lack of experience Drake Maye has against really good playoff teams, I believe this is going to lead to their downfall. Because even last week against the LA Chargers, he struggled a little bit. When the lights were bright this year, in the playoffs, the Patriots won, but at the same time, Drake Maye had a sub 60% completion percentage. He threw for 268 yards, 1 touchdown to 1 interception, in a 16-3 win against the Chargers. But even with the win, the offense really never got going for the New England Patriots. And in the playoffs, the defense is just going to get better and better as the rounds go. And not to mention, if they play the Buffalo Bills, I really like the Buffalo Bills in that matchup, because earlier in the season, Drake Maye only had 60% completion percentage against the Bills for 155 yards, 0 touchdown, 1 interception, and a loss. And you're probably like, why don't you look at any of the other playoff teams? Like I said, in the last 12 weeks of the NFL season, they played 1 playoff team, my nigga. That's like my wife's boyfriend only letting me crack her 1 time in the last 12 months. Yeah, at least let me do it 3 times. With that being said, with the lack of playoff experience, he's a young quarterback, and the lack of good performances really this year against playoff teams, he's going to have to go band for band with another quarterback in this playoffs, and I don't think it'll happen. While Drake Maye had a great elite season, they only really played about 3 playoff teams this year, and 2 of them were the Buffalo Bills. So the way Drake Maye will choke is just lack of playoff experience, lack of playing these big games against good teams, and it already really showed last week against the LA Chargers, where he didn't necessarily play bad, but he didn't play elite or good or an MVP like he is. Drake Maye's just not experienced enough, and the Patriots roster just hasn't been tested, nor has Drake Maye at all. And the one time in the last 12 weeks, it didn't really go well. Next up, we got the Houston Texans, and for them, we got CJ Stroud. Now, I'm a fan of CJ Stroud, and for CJ Stroud, it's pretty much the same reason as the rest of them. These quarterbacks this year have not played well against playoff teams outside of really Matthew Stafford and Josh Allen. CJ Stroud is probably the worst quarterback on this list when it comes to how they played in the regular season against good teams. Granted, he's light-skinned and 6 foot and probably gets more bitches than me. But we'll start off with the positive here against the San Francisco 49ers. They won 26-15. Stroud threw for a 76% completion percentage, 318 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, a win against a playoff team. Now the rest are fucking abysmal, my nigga. Against the LA Chargers, he went for a 57% completion percentage, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a win because his defense absolutely carries the offense. Against the Broncos, he had a 60% completion percentage, only passed for 79 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interception. Nigga shouldn't even have walked on the field. I don't know what to say. He's putting up Venezuelan military against the U.S. stats right here. Against Seattle, he had a 46% completion percentage, 229 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Against Jacksonville, he had 65% completion percentage, 208 yards, 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions. Against the Rams, he had a 70% completion percentage, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He simply hasn't been a good performer against playoff teams all year long. The choke here, you can see it coming. It's imminent. I can already see the memes. I can't wait to see Drewski on this nigga's face because it's gonna happen. And I like CJ Stroud, but realistically, if you don't see this coming, I don't know what to tell you. Next up, we got the Buffalo Bills, and that would be Josh Allen. And the way that Josh Allen's gonna choke is divine intervention. Real shit, this dude does not play bad in the playoffs, but he's on the Buffalo Bills. And like I said in my last video, God looks down at the shitty city of Buffalo, and he spites him. Usually it's with a light-skinned nigga from Texas named Patrick Mahomes, but he's not in the playoffs. God's gonna find some other fuckery to spite the Buffalo Bills. I don't know what they did. It's probably because their fans are a bunch of whiny bitches. But Josh Allen probably won't play bad, but his team's gonna lose. So yeah, the way Josh Allen's gonna choke is divine intervention. Now we're moving on to the NFC. And we're going to start with the Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is a good quarterback. Sometimes he's bordering on elite quarterback. But he makes mistakes at the biggest moments of every game. And I'm telling you, if Sam Darnold only puts up 13 points against the 49ers like they did in Week 18, the Seattle Seahawks are going home with a loss. And he hasn't even been that good against playoff teams this year. This Seattle team is just so fucking elite, it doesn't matter. Against the Niners, he had a 76% completion percentage, 198 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Against the Panthers, he had a 66% completion percentage, 147 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Against the Rams, 64% completion percentage, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Against the Rams earlier this year, 65% completion percentage, 279 yards, 0 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Against Houston, 54% completion percentage, 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. My point is, his only real good game against a playoff team was against the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he threw 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But in all the other playoff teams he played, he has 4 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. Seattle Seahawks lose not in the Super Bowl. It'll be because of Sam Darnold. It'll be because he turns the ball over. It'll be because Seahawks are bitches. It'll be because the whole city of Seattle smells like fucking shit. It'll be because God spited the gay Eagles in the 12th man. Fuck the Seahawks. I hope you guys fucking lose. Bang bang Niner gang. Next up we got the Chicago Bears, and that will be Caleb Williams. What a game we saw. Bears, Packers, and Bears defeated the Packers, coming back in the 4th quarter off some wild throws by Caleb Williams. Him running backwards off the back foot on a 4th and 8, layering it over 2 defenders into his wide receiver hands is one of the clutchest, craziest throws I've seen in all my life. But this one should be simple. The way the Chicago Bears lose and the way Caleb Williams choke is because this magic he has in the last 15 minutes of the game just doesn't show up. The opposing team's defense actually makes a stop to end the game, because there's a problem with a lot of NFL teams when it comes to them flipping the switch, and we saw it get exposed last year in the Super Bowl with the Chiefs and Eagles. And this Bears organization is not the Kansas City Chiefs. They haven't won a Super Bowl since 1985. While they're really good right now, they're really new to this shit, for real. At least in the last 40 years, they're very new to this shit. But I'm not going to go too in depth here. If Caleb Williams doesn't play good completely through all the 4th quarters, if he plays the way he does during the first half where he's just lifeless out there, the Bears will lose and Caleb Williams will be a choker. Not that he isn't already. By the way, Caleb Williams, I'm LGBTQ friendly, so it's all cool with me. Next up, we got the LA Rams, and we got the MVP of the league, Matthew Stafford. And if I'm being honest with you, I really like the Rams' chances of going to the Super Bowl, especially with this quarterback. He has not played bad against playoff teams all season. Against Carolina last week, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Against Seattle, 457 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Against San Francisco, 284 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Against Jacksonville, 182 22, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. This dude has been a savant at the quarterback position against playoff teams. But the thing is, he hasn't always been like this. Maybe we'll get the Detroit Lions Matthew Stafford, but really outside of that, I don't see Matthew Stafford making big mistakes, not showing up in the biggest moments this year in the playoffs, because he's been doing it all year. At least in 2025, how this dude has been playing at the elite level he's been playing all fucking season, for him to be the reason why the LA Rams lose, if I'm being completely honest. And I hate the Rams. I hate glazing Stafford, but he's really been that guy this year. I have no complaints about his performance. So with that being said, there's really no reason that Matthew Stafford will choke. Maybe if we get Detroit Lions Matthew Stafford. That's about it. Next up, we got the 49ers, and we got Brock Purdy. And all I'd like to say is, fuck you, nigga. My God, Lord, and Savior, big cock Brock Purdy is not choking on nothing. But with that being said, that's going to be the end of this video, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate the support recently. I'll catch y'all boys later. Let's get to 700 subscribers, y'all.